How is it possible for evil to be born within absolute perfection? How could darkness emerge in a place where only light existed? Before the first star was ignited, before time itself began, eternity's greatest mistake was not committed by a man, but by the most brilliant being to ever walk beside God. Prepare to understand the fall that shook the very foundations of the universe. This is not just a story about a fallen angel. It is the account of the day beauty turned into pride, and the bearer of light transformed into the father of darkness. This is the fall of Lucifer. Before time was measured by hourglasses or space was limited by horizons, there was only eternity, a realm where light has no external origin, for it emanates directly from the source of all existence. There, silence is not empty, but a symphony of absolute reverence. Columns of fire, seas of glass, and an order so perfect that every atom of holiness vibrated in unison with the Creator's will. It was a world of unbreakable harmony, where the majesty of God filled every crevice of being, and glory was the very air the celestial hosts breathed. Everything was light, and in that light, there was no room for shadows. However, at the center of this perfection, something never before seen began to germinate. It was an event invisible to the eye, yet seismic within the structure of the spirit. A strange thought, a dissonant vibration that had never echoed in the celestial courts. A silent desire, like a seed of ice in a field of sun, was born where there should have been only worship. How could evil find soil in a place where sin did not exist? This is the mystery that silenced the spheres, the origin of iniquity in the heart of the one created to be the ultimate reflection of beauty. He was the seal of perfection. His name was Lucifer, the bearer of light, an anointed cherub, established by God himself upon the holy mountain. He was not merely an angel, he was the guardian of holiness, adorned with every precious stone eternity could offer: sardius, topaz, diamond, beryl, and fine gold. The sound of his footsteps was music, and his wisdom surpassed understanding. He walked in the midst of the fiery stones, moving with the freedom of one who stands but a step away from the throne. If anyone knew the depth of divine love, it was he. And it was precisely this proximity that made his fall the darkest event in cosmic history. Slowly, the light he was meant to reflect began to be withheld. Pride, like a subtle poison, began to corrupt his wisdom. He looked upon his own beauty and forgot the hand that had sculpted him. Instead of leading praise to the Creator, Lucifer began to savor the radiance emanating from himself. In the secret of his essence, he began to make comparisons. Why is the throne his and not mine? Am I not the most beautiful? He began to desire not just the presence of God, but the position of the Most High. Many around him, fascinated by his authority and beauty, did not notice the change. He still shone. He still occupied his post of honor. Rebellion did not begin with a shout, but with a mask. His corrupted wisdom allowed him to weave a web of influence, planting doubt under the pretext of liberty. Heaven still appeared calm, but beneath the surface, spiritual tension grew like a storm forming in a vacuum. The holiness of the environment reacted to the presence of that internal stain, a stain Lucifer hid beneath the mantle of his ancient dignity. But pride has a hunger that is never satisfied until it becomes overt. What was once an internal whisper became a blind conviction. The eternal order was challenged. Lucifer no longer wanted to be a servant, even as the highest among them. He looked toward the heights, beyond the clouds of glory, and uttered in his heart the 5 decrees that would seal his destiny. I will ascend to heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will be like the Most High. In that moment, cosmic risk became reality. The creature declared total independence from the Creator. The breaking point was absolute. Lucifer's light, once warm and welcoming, became cold and piercing. The choice was made with full consciousness, under the full brilliance of the face of God. Lucifer's treachery was not solitary. His tail swept away 1/3 of the stars of heaven, angels who, seduced by his rhetoric and beauty, chose to trade eternity for rebellion. Then, war broke out in heaven. On one side, the dragon and his rebel angels. On the other, Michael and his celestial hosts. Michael, whose very name echoes the question, who is like God, led the army of faithfulness against the architect of discord. The spiritual conflict was of a magnitude the human mind can scarcely conceive, the clash between pure light and the dawning darkness. There was no place found for the rebels in the courts of glory. Michael's victory was the fulfillment of divine justice. Heaven witnessed what it never imagined it would see, the fall. Like a flash of lightning that tears through the celestial vault and streaks across the firmament with violent, terminal brilliance, Lucifer was cast out of the presence he once guarded. Jesus would describe it millennia later, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." He was hurled to the earth, stripped of his authority, accompanied by a multitude of fallen angels who were now nothing more than shadows of their former dignity. The bearer of light became the prince of darkness. The cherub became the accuser. The judgment was not a reaction of rage, but a necessity of divine justice itself. Light cannot dwell with darkness. Today, the adversary is a fallen figure. He wanders through the heavenly realms and across the earth, limited by the sovereignty he tried to usurp, yet still a master of the deception that destroyed him. His rebellion was not a victory, but a perpetual exile. He carries within him the lightning marks of his fall, and his existence is now a desperate attempt to wound the heart of God through those whom God loves. The fall of Lucifer remains the great warning of the ages. In the kingdom of light, what caused destruction was not an external force, but the internal abyss of pride. He fell not because he lacked power, but because he lacked humility. The greatest enemy of creation was not born in chaos, but in beauty itself. Before the sovereignty of God, we are left with awe and reverence. For if the brightest of cherubs could fall by looking at himself, how much more must we keep our eyes fixed on him who is, before time was, the one and only true light.